And I made a list of like every comedian that I loved. I'm so glad Bill Cosby never wrote me back. That's just a blessing.
I have a picture with Bill Cosby that I cannot post.
Dude,
anymore.
my
arm is around him.
Oh my God.
Cheesing a sweater, matching sweaters.
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
Hi. Whoopsie.
Woo. Now everybody has a podcast, and
Right.
you could. I mean, everybody can do it. Anybody can do it, but don't.
My illustrious guest is one of the sharpest and dopest comedic storytellers in the game. She has a new comedy special on YouTube called Space Camp. And she also collects vintage lunchboxes, which somehow makes perfect sense. Give it up for my friend Liz Miele.
I love that that's in my intro.
Yeah. What's going on, Liz Miele?
Nothing. My cat's name is also Lunchbox. So that all
Larry,
that all
so it
comes
does
together.
make sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
It all comes together
Yeah.
now. Liz Miele, what's something that's played out that you wish would make a comeback?
I mean, I guess because I'm a 90s kid, and I think they might be coming back, but I've always loved layers.
Yeah.
So you know how you would put like the short sleeve over the long sleeve?
Right.
But I was like, and people were doing it, but like I would put like 3 tank tops on top of each other. So I don't have a torso. Like I'm just.
So you were layered.
I'm a very short, tiny person. So I would have like a long tank top that almost looked like a tunic, and then another tank top and another tank top, and it would just give me the illusion of like a long torso. Like I looked like people would be like, "What are you, like 5'3"?" And I'm like, "Shut up, I wish." And then I wouldn't say the style was the thing, but I'm so cold right now that maybe. But I used to wear dresses on top of jeans.
No, I used to see girls rock this.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was
that's
a thing.
Yeah, and it was just like very bohemian. Like think like. I don't know, Winona Ryder in like 91 vibes where you're just like, I don't care and I'll just put on anything. Like there was definitely like I ran out of the house and this is all that was clean vibe to it. Right. And
that's a great description, by the way.
Yeah, and as somebody that's like just kind of always wearing a sweatshirt and leggings, I was just like, oh, I could kind of look cute because I would wear like really nice dresses over like flare jeans that are just like getting destroyed by the earth. Like they're just, of course. Which is like that trend has come back, and you want to tell girls like, hey, if it rains,
if it rains, you're screwed.
Your day's ruined.
You're done.
Yeah. So I miss layers. I'm always cold. I loved the look, and I'm one of those people that like I kind of dress exactly how I did when I was 14, just with like minor changes.
As you should.
Yeah. So
I feel like I feel like dressing should be like a playlist. It's just like I'm stuck where I was, and that's just what it is. But now like stuff is coming back anyway. It is,
but it's like not the stuff I want.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I don't know, it's just like this kind of Delia's like trash that I don't know. I feel like I've never been a stylistic person. Like that's not how people remember me. But I do think I want to, now that the 90s is back and that's where I always felt most confident, I think this is my year.
This is your year. This is your time to shine. This is your time to shine, Liz
We're just
Miele.
like pulling out Nirvana t-shirts, being like, it's back, baby.
Layer that shit up.
Yeah.
What's something that's played out that you hope never makes a comeback?
This really is aging me. Hairspray?
Hairspray.
Because
I'm kind of with you.
Not to upset you. That might have been because you went through a hairspray.
Exactly.
So I have big curly hair, so I'm lying right now. But I was a gymnast when I was younger, and I mean to perform, like to do gymnastics, you would like put it up in this tight bun, and then my mom would just hairspray the shit out of me.
I can't even smell my own nose. Beauty is commitment.
First of all, and then even now I put so much like gel and mousse that I've been flammable my entire life.
Right.
But there
was one match away.
Oh, dude, and just
Richard Pryor. Down the street.
He's such what an icon.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey, bud, you gotta lay off the hairspray. Had nothing to do.
That's what did it.
It was misunderstood. It never had to do with drugs. But no, I just, all they kept talking about is the ozone. And now I think because it's not a trend, we actually have an ozone. I know we have other climate problems.
Yeah.
But I'm so worried because big hair seems like it's coming back. Like curly bangs are coming back and other stuff. And I'm worried that hairspray is going to come back.
It's funny that with all the, people talking about like planes and private jets and the jet engines and stuff like that destroying the Earth. 80s hairspray.
Oh, it was before we had private jets.
Paled in comparison to 80s hairspray.
We had rock bands that were taking out chunks of the Earth.
Yeah.
So there's a part, one, it smells bad, and two, it's just like, I don't know. And so everything gets sticky.
Yeah.
I remember covering up my eyes, and then my mom would go, shh. And then, like, as somebody that I hate washing my hair, like, you have to wash your hair, or you just have like a helmet for days, and it starts to flake.
I would imagine, because like I grew up with a lot of women in my family and stuff like that, so I would smell it all the time. Does it? I mean, I would imagine the chemicals hurt your hair, no? Or
I'm sure it does. It's just it dries out your hair. So I think as a curly haired person, like if you consistently use it, you're like, why is my hair just snapping off?
Yeah.
Like it really does make your hair, like, you would see these commercials where everybody's hair was like luscious and shiny, and you're like, how do I get that? And then you had like 6 different chemicals that you put in your hair every day.
Inhaling,
just
sniffing hairspray, all throughout the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, so I hope it never comes back.
No, that's a no on hairspray. Were you a latchkey kid growing up?
I was a different definition. So
Okay.
I think it's a little bit better than a latchkey kid, but maybe a little worse in some ways. Okay, so my parents are veterinarians.
Okay.
And they had 2 like townhouses that they bought. So we lived in this one, and then they turned this one into a cat clinic, and it was right next door. So my mom was always working, so we would get off the bus and we would immediately go into the lobby of this tiny cat clinic and just like do our homework, like in the lobby and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have just like very strong, first of all, I knew all the staff. We had these like practice cats, like cats that like nobody wanted to adopt, so they just roamed around the animal hospital.
That's dope.
But like I remember, so my sister is 2.5 years older than me, and she would get on the bus before me. And so she would go on the bus. I would steal one of her sweaters.
Layered, of course.
Layered, of course.
Up.
Yeah, I would take multiple sweaters.
Right.
And I would wear them thinking I was a genius because she left first, but she also got home first. And then I would get home. So my mom, we all have this very strong memory that I walked into the animal hospital. My sister sees I'm wearing her sweater, goes, that's mine. And I'm like, ah! And then we're like rolling around in the lobby with like people holding their cats, like, and my mom trying to break up a fight, like, while she's trying to see patients.
Like,
Knock it off! Kill each other at home, not in my clinic!
this is only my business here.
Just nuts. And then I remember when I was really young, I get off the bus. I was in elementary school. I was probably like 7, maybe.
Yeah.
Never a smart kid. I get off the bus, and my mom's in the waiting room, or is seeing a client, and one of the staff members is like, oh, there's kittens. And when you walked in, there was like a whole area that was the sick cats. So she just was like, hey, there's kittens. And I was like, ah, kittens. And so I go, I'm playing with the kittens, da-da-da-da. My mom gets out and she goes, you weren't touching the kittens, were you? And I was
No.
like, no. She goes, because they have ringworm. And I was like,
Ooh.
what?
Ooh.
And I ended up having ringworm everywhere. Like
Wow.
everywhere. Because I was like 7 and I just heard kittens.
Talk
And
about hand in the cookie jar.
yeah, like legit, like within like 2 days, just ringworm
And your
everywhere.
mom, was your mom just looking at you, shaking her head?
Yeah.
I told you not to touch the cats.
You look like a walking side effect.
And like that's the thing, is that you truly, like, the best health insurance I ever had was my parents
Of
being
course.
vets. It's the same stuff.
It's the same, yeah.
And it was next door. I remember once my little sister, she got sick, and she was like, I could give it to you now, and it's beef flavored and chewable, or we can wait a couple of days and you can swallow it. And she's like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want chewable beef flavored whatever, steroids, whatever the fuck you're giving me.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're just giving horse tranquilizers.
Yeah. Ivermectin, I invented that. I inhaled that as a child. No, so it's like different. Like my parents were busy, but they were somewhat present. And then I
Gotcha.
had like basically cats and staff watching me.
Is this the basically the genesis of your love for cats? Like, is that?
Oh, 100%. Like
Yeah.
when people call me a cat lady, I'm just like,
It's like.
I mean, it's what put me through college.
Right.
Is being,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? My mom.
Thank you.
My mom's the ultimate cat lady. Yeah, because both my parents were vets. We just happened to live, like when I was really young, we lived next to. They had a practice that was cats and dogs, and then my mom had this little tiny practice that we lived next to until I was like 14.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, my my dad's a pastor, so I grew up like literally in a church. So
Yeah.
church was never like church. To
Yeah,
me.
you're
It
like,
was-
yeah, that's where dad is.
Yeah, that's where dad is.
Yeah.
This building, and it had like a gym in the basement.
Yeah.
So it'd be like where I would just hang out and like crawl around in the attics and all this kind of stuff.
It is funny being a kid at your parents' work all the time because it really does desensitize you to
from all that.
Yeah, like and that I was that kid until until I was a full adult where I'd walk in and I'd be like, "Where's my mom?" She's literally like doing surgery on a cat and they're like, "She's busy." I was like, "She's not. Mom, can I borrow the car?" But it is like to be that annoying kid that's just like, "Tell my mom I'm taking the car."
Yeah. My dad's like counseling a family that's going through grief or something like that.
My bad, y'all.
Like that.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Can I have $30? Sure, bud.
Sure.
Yeah, just take it out of that jar that's donations.
I'm the reason the church can't get a new roof.
Yeah. They're just like, why does his teeth look so good? I don't trust it.
Real quick, and you don't have to. I know you've told the story before, but it's so fascinating to me. If you would like to indulge me, you have a very cool story about one of the greatest comedians of all time, who was like a mentor, if you will.
Yeah,
Mr. George Carlin.
Yeah, so I feel fortunate. I fell in love with stand-up when I was like 13, and I started watching everything that I could get my hands on and reading every book and anything that, now everybody has a podcast and you could, everybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Subscribe.
But don't. So my dad told me, he's like, well, if you want to be a comedian, write to comedians. And so he like taught me how to write like a business letter. So it was like my name, my address, my phone number, my email. And I every day after school, there was one computer, and I would rush home so that I could get access to the computer so I could look up anything I could find, an email, an address, whatever.
Yeah.
And I made a list of like every comedian that I loved. I'm so glad Bill Cosby never wrote me back. That's just a blessing.
I have a picture with Bill Cosby that I cannot post.
Dude,
anymore.
I had every
like
album.
My arm is around him.
Oh my God.
Cheesing a sweater, matching sweaters.
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
Hi.
Yeah, and then you have to do like an ex-girlfriend where you rip his face off.
Whoopsie.
Woo. But no, so George Carlin, I found an address in Santa Monica for, and I just, I sent this letter and I sent it to a bunch of people, basically just asking like, hey, I want to do this. I'm 15. Do you have any advice? And because I had left my number, it turned out that was his office that he went to every day, and he called me.
Wow.
And so I ended up talking to him on the phone for like 10 minutes.
And this is back when, what year is this?
I started in 2002 when I was 16, so this is 2001.
So did you have a cell phone at this time?
No, this is my house phone.
So this is why you had to call it a house phone. You had to be there.
No, I actually think I might have had a cell phone, but it was only for emergencies, so I would never give Mr. Carlin my cell. My dad would yell at me.
Yeah.
So no, it was my house phone. I happened to be home. I was like folding laundry.
That's crazy to think about. You had to be home at that time, and
I was the one that picked up, and I was like losing my mind. Also, mental illness runs in my family, so I was just like, this is how it happens. This is the psychotic break. But I called my dad immediately, and best advice my dad ever gave me, he goes, memory doesn't last. Write down everything now. So I have a little index card that literally has the date George Carlin called me.
That's incredible.
And then he told me I could write to him anytime. So I wrote to him here and there. I told him when I first started. Then when I was 18, I was profiled in the New Yorker, and I mailed him a copy of the New Yorker.
Wow.
And he called me to tell me that he didn't, because it was about barking and handing out flyers, because I was a kid. And he was like, this is so cool. Thank you for sending it to me. He gave me his email. I would then email asking him stuff. And then when I was 19, I was an intern at Conan, and he was going to be in New York, and I asked if he wanted to get coffee so I could like pick his brain more. And we ended up having like Coke in the lobby of his hotel. And I remember this because I was 3 years in, and I couldn't, now it seems silly, but I couldn't figure out how to make an hour flow.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have all these jokes. How do you make it flow? He whips out his computer, shows me like how he organizes it. And to this day, I actually think is why I'm maybe not a storyteller per se, but how it never daunted me. He did these long ranty bits, right? And so he had asked the hotel to print out this thing he hadn't memorized, but their printer was broken. So they went to this other hotel in Times Square, got it printed. He was the nicest person. He goes, can I get your name? Can I get the name of the person that helped me? And then can I get their info? So he would send anybody that helped him, he would send them like box sets of his albums and stuff. But he printed this thing was printed out, and what he would do, he told me, is when it wasn't fully ready at the end of his set, he would just read off it or just like do it like shitty at the end of his set to try to get it memorized. And it just 19-year-old Liz, it gave me permission to not always be perfect, and that being written is okay, because I grew up, like, I loved Sinbad when I was growing up.
Me too.
And I remember,
he doesn't get the proper respect.
He doesn't. He's incredible. But like, I remember he was one of the first people that had a book, and it was always, he never wrote anything down. So I felt very ashamed the first couple of years of doing stand-up, because he was just a off-the-cuff kind of guy. But then you look at somebody like a Seinfeld or a Carlin, and they're very written. And I am I've loosened up over the years, and I write on stage and stuff, but it always ends up getting written down and edited on paper because I'm very visual. And to see his process so young, it just gave me permission to not be perfect, and that things take time, and that, you know, we know geniuses, like literal genius comedians, and I was never that. And it gave me permission to grow and not be perfect. And even today, I type things out and print it out and am a sloppy mess.
I would say too, the geniuses that we know, they go through the same process. I think genius is birthed from the same place. It's the sloppy mess that when we see it personified in its, you know, proper form in a special or on stage or whatever, it's the sloppy mess, as you say, in the process that gets you to that point. So
sure, but we know people that, like, so Adrienne Appalucci is who I think, she's never written anything down. 2 Adrienne stories. She has a Netflix special. You should check it out, Dark Queen. But no, she was doing a taping once, and she was like, should I do this joke or this joke? And I was like, oh, what about this joke? She's like, oh, I forgot about that joke. And then I was like, oh, this one would actually tie really well into it. And she goes, oh, I forgot about that one too. And I was like, what do you mean you forgot about it?
Right.
She didn't write anything down. She didn't write, like, sometimes she'll write a set list, but almost rarely does she. And she doesn't write her jokes down. She's bought me notebooks almost every birthday. She doesn't use a notebook.
Wow.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then I remember so clearly, this was probably like 10 years ago, we were in a diner, we were in between spots, and we were like just working on stuff. And I was like, hey, I can't get past this. What do you think of this? And vice versa. She tells me this idea. She goes, I haven't done anything with it, but what do you think? And I was like, I don't see it. Like, I just didn't. I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
A week later, it's her best joke. It's like genius. And I'm like, what?
Like, how did you?
Like, I didn't even see that could be something.
Yeah.
And it like very quickly was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And so there are people, they walk amongst us.
Yeah.
But it ain't me.
Well, I think you're brilliant, and I appreciate you for being here. Where can people find you? Where you're gonna be? All that kind of stuff. Anything you want to promote? Anything?
Oh yeah. At Liz Miele on everything. Miele. I have a special called Space Camp. You can find free on YouTube, but I have tons of specials. I have a book called Why Cats Are Assholes that you can buy wherever you buy books. And I'm on this show called Best Medicine on Fox if you want to see me yell at a doctor, which is honestly who I am as a person.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like that sums you up pretty well.
Thank you.
Liz Miele, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.